I admit that when I came here, I did not give an inch in this new community to defend my human rights, especially when some of the people I first met considered themselves, still newcomers after 2.5 years. So that means, they played the game of good domesticates and they still feel like they have dues to pay. So, the alternative for me, that also has to be community minded is to role model what is okay and not okay, including, when my human rights are violated and why it's not okay and why they should not do it to each other either. Like here at No Frills, the lady made a mistake and didn't give me my change of $1 back, and I know exactly what happened. And sometimes I say people don't get basic math, and they do. Like if they do, let's say they're in a test, and this is the amount and this is what's given back, they can do it. And the reason they don't do it is HSD again. It's easily distracted. It's it's not on purpose what she did. So when I see people do this basic math issue that arms me, that arms each other, that projects their cultures getting worse while I'm supposed to just observe for 2.5 years, it's not personal. It's their suffrage from HSD. If they want to take it personal, that I'm left with the only strategy as a culture pair to just role model defending my human rights, making recommendations and hearing them shoot it down, whatever it is that, that's what I'm left with, because the norm is the norm, right? I can't, if I make a little bit of progress with one person, it doesn't spread to the norm. So it doesn't work like that. The norm spreads its own HSD much faster than I could spread knowledge about it and how to recognize it and counteract it. If somebody makes a driving mistake, whether it's RCMP, like I mentioned in another vlog, or just the basic driver that have a lot of damage here, including on their new cars, I shouldn't take it personally. It's not like they are trying to be flawed as primates on purpose, but they are trying to be in denial of the memetics they spread that does devolve their cultures and their own lives. So as much as I can tell what they're doing that has the potential of harming me, and I can be friendly and push it away or mention, maybe you forgot my change or whatever, is, I can use the knowledge of HSD to protect myself from additional hardships, but they can't do that themselves. So I have to realize, they are going to keep doing basic math errors, and it's not about the math as much as it's, dysfunctional brain. And it's, they're going to keep getting worse as drivers. And, the politicians or the popular people on YouTube like Jordan B. Peterson, he's not going to talk about these issues in the norm. He's just going to choose a face or a few of villainy, and he's going to continue not realizing that, in fact, he's also a part of the problem by not having the right conversations. Now, it's not like if there was just 1% of people like me that talked about these things and that were willing to take on hardships, then I just got an answer from relatives in Quebec. It's so ridiculous how it's obvious that they are self-serving, and they can't even realize that their responses prove to me what I just wrote that they didn't like. It's all there. It's, and it's not just relatives, it's everybody you interact with. It just sends them deeper into HSD. But if I had, let's say, 1% of the population who understood and had their versions of how to explain this similar phenomenon over time of our species that was already past its tipping points when I was born, do you know that I wouldn't feel alone at all if just 1% of my species was capable of using the higher functions of their brain and discussing that we are actually living in an end time that has nothing to do with the natural world, having, failed in some way. or circumstances that were beyond our control. They were always within our control, and we always chose not to take responsibility for it. And it's because the problems were always here, and they've escalated to the point that I don't know. I think if there was 1% of us, we'd know we should just be a support group to each other, because at this point there is nothing you can do to reverse this phenomenon except work on mitigation ventures, which can only work, really. I don't even think it can work without, at least 66% of people understanding the strategies and wanting to apply it, and having sentience at the point that they would admit that applying these strategies, this 66% of people that is incapable of understanding it, if they existed capable of understanding it, were choosing to apply it, realizing it would increase their own hardships, and that only future generations would benefit from it, but only minimally. Yeah, no, this is not a species that I belong to.